That's great. The other thing I can't help but ask is, I see your dress seems quite Nubian. Is there any relationship between the way you dress and your profession?
Not within my profession, but definitely within my way of life. So the way of life that I practice is called Nwapu. And again, it stems from going back to the dress of your ancestors. I mean, typically Western clothing isn't made for a lot of people's body shape. So typically African and Caribbean women, you know, many of us are very curvaceous, and the clothes that we see on the catwalks and in a lot of high street shops aren't for the curves that a black woman has. They're just not. Which is why a lot of women, unfortunately, will end up with, again, female problems because the clothes are too tight-fitting around the genital areas. And the same goes for guys. The clothes are just way too tight-fitting.
Right. So, well, this is interesting because I'm quite sure many people don't see the relationship between what they wear and their general health. It seems to me like there seems to be more opportunities provided to people like yourselves to get the word out so that people can be aware that certain ethnic groupings need to conform to certain things that are culturally associated with themselves, it seems. Yeah?
Yeah,
so
definitely, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the holistic diagnostic technique. I imagine that has something to do with the whole metabolic typing thing.
Yeah. Basically, there are a lot of ways that we can not only treat or heal ourselves, but also to find out what's wrong with us. Very basically listening to, even before you get into the metabolic typing is a way of finding out the food that works best for you. And what you do is fill out quite an extensive questionnaire based on your diet-related traits, your physical appearance, your physical makeup, and your psychological traits. So you fill in a questionnaire, and we'll be able to work out what food will work best for you. And that's one way. But even within filling in that questionnaire, you are literally you need to get that information from your own body. All the questions are asking what your body does, how does your body react to this, how does your body react to that. Aside from the metabolic typing, there are things like pulse testing that you can do to find out whether you're sensitive to certain foods. There are things that you can look out for in your stools when you go to the toilet to see how things are working in your body. You can look at your tongue and find out what's going on in your body. You can look at your eyes and find out what's going on in your body. You can look at your skin. You can check your temperature. And these are all things you can do yourself. You can check your own blood sugar levels. You don't need to wait until you go to your GP or your doctor, until you get a medical, to find out whether you could possibly be having some blood sugar levels. And if you marry that information with history of diabetes in your family, you will know when, it's time to start adjusting things with your diet. And unfortunately, diabetes is one of the conditions that drastically affects the Black African community worldwide, in fact, as does, conditions like breast cancer. And all of these things are so easily not only just preventable, but they're things that you can catch a lot sooner than you having to go to the doctors to find them out. So all of these different testing tests that you can do on yourself, or different self-tests that you can do. There's even self-tests you can do to check whether you've got certain fungus or certain overgrowths of bacteria, like you can self-test yourself for things like candida to see how likely it is that you've got it. Your thyroid function. Your thyroid is a gland in your body that helps to regulate your hormones, and it's responsible for your energy levels, for the way that you use and metabolize food. It's a massively important organ in your body, and you can tell if things are going wrong with your thyroid. A very simple thing that everyone can do is to very basically see how they feel before they've eaten a food and about an hour after they've eaten it. So, for example, if you wake up in the morning and, you're mildly hungry, you're not one of these people that are ravenously hungry first thing in the morning. You're mildly hungry. You make yourself a bowl of cornflakes with, white sugar and semi-skim milk or something like that. And an hour later, you feel groggy, you feel tired, you can't concentrate, you don't want to be at work, you're feeling slightly irritated. All of those things, it's highly likely that those things will have something to do with the food that you've eaten. Now, if you, on another morning, have some, a mango and spinach smoothie, for example, and an hour after you have that, under the exact same conditions, because people have told me, it can't be my food, I'm always miserable when I'm at work because I can't stand being at work. Just test this. Have a completely different breakfast. Have something that you know is a lot more wholesome. So we'll go with the mango and spinach smoothie, for example. Have a mango and spinach smoothie, and an hour later, see how you feel. You're sitting at your desk in the same situation you were in the day before when you were feeling groggy and irritated and tired and you don't want to be at work. And if this morning you feel energized, you feel slightly more emotionally stable, you don't feel tired, you feel a bit more alert, and you feel just generally happier, then firstly you would have shown to yourself that actually your food is having an effect on you. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people realize the first few days that they switch their diet is, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that was my food. This whole time I thought it was just that I hated my job. It's actually that I just wasn't eating great food. And secondly, you'll realize the foods that are working better for your body and those that aren't working best for your body. Your food is literally like your fuel. So if you put fuel in your car and 10 minutes later the car is sluggish and it's not moving very well and it's jittery, then you're going to want your money back from the petrol station because that fuel hasn't done its job. And the same thing should be with our food. If your fuel isn't energizing you, it's time to find a different fuel.